My name is Scott Kinney. On behalf of Discovery Education, I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us in this interactive discussion with the Mythbusters. Nice. See, if you start like that, then I won't be nervous the rest of the day. That'll be perfect. Ready? What's your name? What's that? Sakia? Ooh, very nice. All right, now I got to be on my best behavior. We're not live, are we? I'm not. Who's live? Oh, that screen. So right now our audience is seeing that. Should we give a big round of applause to all the people that are making this happen? All the sound people and the camera folks, the lighting folks. I tell you what, if I could can this audience and take it with me to places, I think I'd do that. All right, we're going to quiet down. We're getting ready to go. Are we ready? Okay, we got about 30 seconds, so we're going to quiet down. We're all going to be real quiet while we watch Aaron. He's now reading an email on the BlackBerry. Multitasking. And we're live. Well, welcome. My name is Scott Kinney with Discovery Education, and it is my pleasure to welcome everybody today and to thank you for coming to what is going to be an incredible day with the Mythbusters. Very nice. Thank you. Very nice. Very good. What I think is really cool about today, one of my favorite things, is not only do we have students from Chicago here at Murray Language Academy here with us in person, but we also have over literally thousands of students all across the U.S. and Canada and across the world joining us via our live stream. So welcome to you as well, from the tip of Florida all the way to Calgary, Canada, and everywhere in between, like my friends watching in Milton, Pennsylvania. So before I turn this over to our MCs and hosts for the day, I want to quick thank our educational partners here locally. We have representatives from Chicago Public Schools, so if we could give them a round of applause and thank you. And we also have our colleagues here from City Colleges of Chicago, so thank you very much for joining us and speaking today. All right, so without further ado, I want to introduce now our hosts, our MCs for the day. We have two students from right here. We have Grace Law and Antonio Holden, so let's give it up for our MCs.
Hi, I'm Grace, and I'm excited to introduce the Mythbusters. Adam and Jamie make science more than just a subject in school. I love watching them on TV, and they are one of the reasons why I love science.
I'm Antonio. I tried to bust a myth recently at the science fair, and doing well at science is the reason I'm here talking to you all today. Let's watch this video and then give a warm Chicago welcome to Adam and Jamie.
Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole!
okay?
This is science! Isn't it great? Believe it or not, there's actually a method to our madness, and it's called the scientific method. And it is the foundation on which all the experimentation we do on Mythbusters is built.
Right. We didn't invent the technique. Scientists have been using it for a long, long time.
Yeah, way before us.
The scientific method uses observation, investigation, and experimentation to test a hypothesis. And so on our show, you may have heard us say that we replicate the circumstances of the myth and then try to duplicate the results.
Right. See, first we try and test the myth as it's stated to see if we get the expected results. If that fails, we will then expand the scenario to get those expected results no matter what it takes.
Yeah, we really push the limits in order to test our myths. Then the results are measured in a way that's scientifically appropriate to the experiment. That way, whether we're blowing up a cement truck or polishing a turd, it's basic science at its core.
Yeah, the methodology is always the same. At the end of the episode, we always call it busted, plausible, or confirmed.
So now it's your turn to challenge some myths using techniques that we use on the show.
Yeah, you are the Mythbuster. The pressure's on. Good luck. You're gonna need it.
How you guys doing today? Well, so you must know that we're here in Chicago to promote the joint venture between Discovery Education and the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago, the Mythbusters Explosive Exhibition. We hope you guys get to see it. We are also thankful to the Chicago Public Schools and the City College of Chicago for hosting us here. The work that Superintendent Jean-Claude Brizard and Chancellor Cheryl Hyman have done to promote science and get kids interested in science is really inspirational. And also, we've got stuff up on the web of things. I know we always say, don't try this at home, and we mean it. But there is some stuff that you can try at home. There's 10 experiments that they've put up online at msichicago.com in conjunction with the Explosive Exhibition that you can try yourself. But without further ado, we'd now like to take some questions from you guys. Is that all right with you? And I also want to tell you, I'm sorry, but we're not going to blow anything up today. So who's first?
You right there. Have we gotten injured before? Yes, we have. But fortunately, in spite of the fact that we've been doing this for 10 years, there have been literally hundreds and hundreds of experiments, often involving weapons and explosives and all sorts of dangerous stuff. None of us on the team have ever gotten seriously hurt.
But here's the thing. Here's a myth. How many people think that Jamie gets hurt much less than I get hurt? When you watch the show, it seems like he doesn't get hurt very much, right? Not true at all. The difference is that when I get hurt, I actually jump around and go, ow, damn, that hurt, oh, you know, and of course that makes it on the show. When Jamie gets hurt, he goes, ow. And that's it, so they don't put it in the show.
That's pretty much it.
How about over there? Are we making a book about the Mythbusters? There's a whole bunch of books about the Mythbusters. They're actually at the museum, but I mean, yeah, there's a bunch of books out online on Amazon where you can go find books about Mythbusters. Our personal favorite is one called the Mythbusters Encyclopedia. It's actually written by a former writer of Mythbusters.
How about you right
She
there?
looks really happy. What's that?
How many times have we had things busted?
Well, there's a proportion. Obviously, we have 3 levels of what we judge a myth: busted, plausible, or confirmed. And it turns out, when we crunched the numbers, that most things end up being busted, about 65%. About 20% are plausible. How many does that leave? 15%. 15% are confirmed. The smallest percentage is confirmed. We have a question from the internet.
What was your inspiration for the show, Miss Latage from Washburn School in Maine?
A phone call. Our inspiration, we didn't invent Mythbusters. This is not our concept. It's not our idea. We are executive producers of the show now, but we were originally hired talent. And they called us up because we were special effects artists. We worked on movies and commercials and television. And we built things. And one of the things you do when you work in special effects is you build You build different things every day. Someday someone's going to ask you to animate beer. The next day someone's going to ask you to make a Hershey's Kiss into a shark. And when you have those kind of skills, that seemed like the perfect skill set for doing the show Mythbusters. And the show sort of grew out of our skills, really.
Yeah, the original idea was that by actually having hands-on like we do, where we're building things, it would make the show a lot more interesting than just talking about urban legends. And at this point, we do a lot of other things than just urban myths or legends. We often are able to do things just because we want to, because we're curious. How fun is that?
Curiosity. Next question. The blue shirt there.
And both of us, our personal favorite episode was the lead balloon. And that's important because the thing to note is that there's no explosions, there's nothing dangerous or spectacular other than potentially lead poisoning. But it was so exciting for us because it was all about figuring out how to do it. This was a balloon that was 14 feet in diameter. It was made of lead foil, and we filled it with helium, and it actually flew. Now, that lead was so thin, it was 0.0007 of an inch in thickness, that when it was all folded up, the balloon, before we inflated it, when it was all folded up on the floor, it was thinner than a human hair. And it's not very strong. In fact, it's
like working with wet toilet paper.
Yeah. So what you have to do to figure out how to inflate that and not have it just rip apart right away is a real challenge. And that's what we enjoy, is getting right down there into the guts of what we have to do to make something like that work.
We have some questions from the back over here. Yes.
So when you're doing them, like, what's the average time that they usually take?
That's a great question. We usually film an episode of Mythbusters in about 2 weeks. But that doesn't tell the full story, because sometimes we research a story for a long time before we film it. Lead balloon is a great example. It actually took us 2 years to find a company that could make lead that thin. And before we actually found that company, 2 other companies broke their equipment trying to do it for us. Yeah, so they would call us up on Friday and be like, we'll deliver the lead on Monday. And Monday they called and said, our machines are broken, we can't do it. And we'd have to come up with another episode to do. But in the end, it takes about 8 to 10 days to film an episode.
Sometimes it takes only, like, what was it, for Poppy Seed Bagel?
Poppy Seed Bagel we did in 1 day. It's the shortest myth we've ever done.
Yeah, but that's rare.
That's rare. We got one coming up this season called Fancy Footwear, where we experiment with the idea that different kinds of shoes might make you a worse driver. So Jamie and I put on snow boots and high heels and drove cars at really high speeds to see if that would affect us. And that one we actually shot in 4 days flat.
I think they mainly did that because they were thinking that I was going to, raise a fuss about having to wear shiny patent leather or high heels. But at this point, with all the weird stuff they've asked us to do, I didn't have any problem with it. And Adam looked darn good in them, though.
You pick the next one.
Okay. Yes, you right there.